right, so we're going to talk about Liverpool and their pursuit of Alexander Isak and Florian Wirtz.
Yep.
So I think one of the things that everybody at Liverpool thinks is that Wirtz is going to come in and be an immediate benefit to the team, that he's not going to need time to adjust to the pace of the Premier League and to the system that Arne Slot wants to implement. Also, people are not realizing that he is changing the dynamic of the team.
Right.
This is all, Diogo Jota aside. I think that this is something that Liverpool fans and commentators that are secret fans, because we all know that almost everybody in the British media is either secretly a Liverpool fan or openly a Liverpool fan or a Manchester United fan. It seems like that. Because the clubs have had so much success, it seems like everybody there is kind of like leaning towards one of those two teams. And they've only been forced recently to acknowledge that, like, Man City, for example, is just like going to be a force to be reckoned with for the foreseeable future. And they're just partial, but they still are just partial towards Manchester United and Liverpool. Now, obviously, Man U have fallen from grace, and it looks like they are 5 to 10 years away from, right now, just bird's eye view, from being back in contention for the top four. So whatever, but because they've had so much sustained success, it just seems like everybody that's commenting, or every popular commentator, is just like they make it a subject to talk about Manchester United. And it's because they have such a huge fan base in the UK and around the world, and because I think the commentators, because they were, watching when Sir Alex Ferguson was managing the club, when Man U was in its heyday, they just had this idea like, it's just a great club. But it has become readily apparent that they, without Sir Alex Ferguson, aren't actually that great of a club. It's not that well run.
Yeah, Man U are struggling hard. Interesting about the fan support for Man U. They just had a preseason game, and they broke the United States record for the highest attendance to a soccer or football
Manchester
game.
United.
Manchester United. And they played it was like West Ham or something.
Probably lost or tied. Who knows?
Yeah.
Don't care.
Who knows?
That's
care.
wild. But it's a great example.
And it shows why the commentators force them into conversations, even though they're not even top half of the league anymore. They're just a nothing team.
It's enough.
And they will be for, like you said, for probably 5 or 10 years. They'll be moving around the mid-table.
Yeah.
At best trying to get into the top 7 or So.
I mean, I will say this. They spend a lot of money. They do spend a lot of money. Now,
slowing down though.
It is slowing down a bit, but they do spend a lot of money, which is kind of like an alarming, like, whoa, what's going on over here thing, But there have been other clubs that have spent a lot of money and never got awkwardly inserted into conversations about top clubs in the world, like Manchester United get inserted. Like, it'll just be, and Manchester United, they're going after this player, and then it's like, will they? And they just like broach the question, will they be top 4? It's like, they're not going to be top 4. That ship sailed. It sailed the second that Ten Hag forced Ronaldo out of the club, and which they were all celebrating. They were like celebrating getting Ronaldo out of the club, and then Rashford had a good run of form, and they were okay. They got top 4, and then the club's just completely gone off the rails ever since. But they were already off the rails. They were just fortunate. We all know that Ten Hag is not a good manager. He cannot handle a top-level squad. And that shows with how he managed a superstar like Ronaldo. They needed the goals. They needed a guy that could score the goals. He just came off an 18-goal season in the Premier League at like 37 years old. Why are we like forcing him out of the club, telling him you're not gonna. It's like, dude, like figure it out. You know, you guys made this agreement with him. You had him sign this contract, and he showed that he could score those goals. Just go with it.
Right.
It might work. Now
Right.
they can't buy a goal to save their life.
Yeah, ever since Ronaldo left, they have been in need of a goal scorer.
Yeah.
And they haven't had one.
Yes.
Which is like,
And there were other signs before this. Okay.
oh yeah,
So
every season.
basically every season since Sir Alex Ferguson left,
Yeah.
it's been like, okay, this is not the club that we thought it was. This is Sir Alex Ferguson's club.
Right.
He's a great manager. He'll deal with whatever the owners throw at him and whatever they're willing to give him, and he will still pull diamonds out. He will just pull diamonds out of a mud pit. He's just great. Okay? And they had a flash when Mourinho came. Mourinho came to the club.
Yep.
They finished second. Mourinho famously said that was the biggest victory of his entire career, was finishing second with that club, with that team. Everybody mocked him. Turned out he was completely right.
Yeah.
The club's like the players, everything going on, it's just like out of control, bad and dysfunctional. So, yeah, I don't know why they get awkwardly inserted in all these conversations,
You know,
but whatever.
along with that, I like to make note, Bruno Fernandes also gets placed into these, he gets wedged into these conversations about being one of the best attacking midfielders in the world. In the world. And yet, during his time at Man U, they have season after season become a worse team. And he's like been the captain the entire time.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you here. I do think Bruno Fernandes is one of the best attacking midfielders in the world. I think he is phenomenal. He's had his statistics over the course of his career at Manchester United are very impressive. And yes, I know that people make the argument that it's because he's playing with bang-on average players and he's just performing above the level around him, which appears to be impressive. And I get where people are coming from that, but I would say that if you're able to create those statistics at any level inside the Premier League, like as far as team, any level, whether you're a mid-table, relegation battling team or, top 6 team, whatever, I think that if you're creating those statistics, you're a world-class player. And I believe, I don't just believe, I know that Bruno Fernandes is a world-class player.
Yeah, so I get that point, and I do think based on his stats, I think in terms of skill, sure, he might be, one of the best. But a world-class player doesn't play at a team that finishes 17th in the Premier League. It really doesn't happen almost ever. And so what my point would be is, let's say his skill-wise he is that good. Even if that's the case, he is a net drain on the team. There's something that he brings to that team that brings the team down. And that's why they are where they're at.
I couldn't disagree more. I think that
everybody disagrees with that point of view.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree more. I see his bad attitude. I see different things he does out on the field where it's like, come on, man, chill out. But every player, every top level player has these antics that are infuriating as a viewer. But that is, as a general rule, what goes on when you're a world-class athlete making millions of dollars playing, frankly, a game that you played when you were a child.
Right.
And you just kept doing that. And so it's like you take a guy who's been playing a game since he was a boy, and then suddenly it's developed in him. It's suddenly developed into him making millions. Mm-hmm. But he's still just playing that game the same way he played it on the schoolyard when he was 8 years old, and at club level through his preteens and teens, and then he's in the first team. But he's just playing that game. That's what he's doing. He's just having fun, doing his thing. And so, he probably hasn't developed on an emotional, mature level like what most adults forced into the real world, like us, have been. And so when you see him act out and you see that, then you're like, oh, and the team's not very successful, that must mean maybe he's the problem. I disagree. He is not the issue. He's just exhibiting typical behavior with soccer superstars. And the more so, I believe the problem has to do with ownership and with whoever. I know they've shuffled around athletic directors and whatnot, but like the coaching staffs that they're bringing in is just insane.
Horrendous.
It's just insane. And this whole notion of bringing in these upstart young coaches, which everybody's been obsessed with basically since Pep Guardiola came on the scene at Barcelona. Since then, everybody's trying to like get like these Mediterranean, of Mediterranean descent, typically young upstart coaches who've had a little success, and everybody thinks they're getting the next Pep Guardiola,
Right.
And it's basically not happened.
Including Chelsea.
Oh yeah, of course. Enzo Maresca. We have these young, American owners, and they're just typical American. They're kind of like looking around, seeing what works, and like, let's do that. They're like,
Right.
What do you need to build a great soccer team? Lots of money. Okay, let's spend $100 million on Mudryk, and let's just see what happens. So he's totally unproven, coming from a league that is like not considered super competitive, and let's just see what happens. Oh, it didn't work out. Well, shoot, we'll just have to mitigate those lots. Like it's that approach, but so it's not to excuse Chelsea's desire, or not. It's a peripheral desire, but their peripheral desire to adhere to the trends in soccer. I'm not trying to excuse that. However, it's shocking to me that all these English clubs that have been around forever, eons and eons, and seen everything, and they're all just like, we need to get an attack-minded young coach who's like very Ange Postecoglou, whatever his name is, Ange, who is at the Spuds. They bring him in. He's like, we're just going to press and we're just attacking, total football. Blah, blah, blah. This is how we play. We'll never compromise. They go down like 9 men against Chelsea, and they've got their back line is at the halfway line. It's like insane. They get rocked like 6-2 or something, and it's like he's like, we just won't compromise. Everybody's lauding him. It's like, no, dude, he's awful, and he's going to get fired because of it.
Right.
And what's happened? He got fired. He's out.
Yep.
And he was awful. He is awful. He's not good.
Yeah.
Ten Hag and so many other coaches. Well, of course, Chelsea has churned through like a zillion of these guys. Graham Potter, all these people.
Most
come
of
in.
them go to Chelsea
These
at some point.
Well, what's his name at Spuds before Ange? The guy I think he coached Wolves. He's Portuguese.
Nuno.
Yeah.
Is it Nuno Espirito?
Yes, Nuno something. I can't. They know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
He was good. I think he got his club promoted, and then they were like challenging for top 6. I think they did really well, and then he went to Spuds, and then he crashed out within like 8 months. But again, it was like a young, up-and-coming coach. Nobody knows about him, but he's actually secretly really, really good. It's like that's actually not how it works. It's very rare that you get a coach that is not experienced at the highest level that's going to do well.
Right.
Very, very rare.
Right. Well, he has done well, I would say. He stayed in the Premier League. I can't remember what team he's at now.
He's coaching another club in the Premier League. I don't know. Maybe I don't really care.
But he's done a good job. He was pretty tricky to play against last season, and he's always been a pretty solid coach. So I want to go back and talk about Liverpool. And
yes,
Wirtz
it's Nuno Espirito Santo.
That's right.
Yeah.
Where's he coaching?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Continue about Liverpool.
So we want to go back to talk about Liverpool. Before that, I want to bring up Arsenal, because Arsenal played AC Milan in the preseason. Also, Liverpool just played AC Milan.
He's coaching Nottingham Forest.
Oh, Nottingham, of course.
Yeah.
And Nottingham are a big team. They're making big moves. Their first season in the league from promotion, which was 2 or 3 years ago, they bought, I think it was like 22 players. It
Yeah.
was enough to field 2 full teams
Yeah.
of incoming players.
Yeah.
And then since then, they've gotten, they've done very well. I think that season was fine, but then now they're in Europe. I think last season they were competing for the top 4, top 5.
Yeah, and side note in regards to that, that's the other thing. Clubs that get newly promoted into the Premier League, they have to invest heavily.
Oh yeah.
If you don't, you will be Ipswich. You will just come in and be out as soon as you got in.
Right.
You have to go out and invest big time. You got to use all that money that you get from promotion and take out loans based on your incoming TV rights and the money you're going to make from that. And you got to buy some really good players because as good as the championship is, it's just nowhere near the Premier League level. The Premier League is wildly competitive.
Yeah.
Arguably, I would say far and away, but arguably the most competitive, intense, fastest league in the world.
Yeah.
I would say that goes without a doubt, but of course people in Spain, Germany, and
France.
yeah,
Italy.
Spain, Germany, and Italy. That's why I wasn't thinking France. But France too, I guess a little maybe. I think they really know where they're at in France.
Yeah, now
I think
the way PSG have played, they might feel like they
can't
are
take
competing,
credit for
but
PSG.
Yeah.
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 But and credit to PSG, honestly. Like
They've
I
been
was impressed with how, because let's be honest. I mean, like PSG has just walked all over that French league for the most part. They haven't won every single league title after getting purchased by the Saudis or whoever it was. Maybe it was UAE. I can't remember who it was. The princes that bought it. They haven't won every single league title since they've been in charge and investing all that, but it's been almost all of them, and a lot of them by quite a large margin. They had all these different crazy. But regardless, the French league without PSG in it is still a competitive league, but not a league that would approach the competitiveness of La Liga, Bundesliga, or Serie A, and definitely not the Premier League.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think the Premier League is far and away the most competitive, intense league. There's just no doubt in my mind. And so, where was I going with that? We kind of got distracted. But you wanted to talk about Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool and Arsenal, though, real quick.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about
So,
yeah.
Arsenal, we brought in Kepa from Chelsea, Christian Mosquera from Valencia, Zubamendi, Norgard, Madueke from Chelsea. Let's see, Zubamendi, I don't know where it was. He playing at Real
Sociedad, or maybe
Real Sociedad. Yeah,
it was okay.
Yeah, and then Norgard came from Brentford.
Norgard and Zubamendi are like
very good, very good.
Incredible transfers.
Yes,
it's a coup. Like other clubs wanted those guys, especially Zubamendi. Everybody wanted Zubamendi.
Were big on him.
Yeah,
yep.
Everybody and a lot of people with deep pockets, and he was smart to go to Arsenal, I think, especially since they picked up Norgard, because Norgard also is a defensive midfielder, and that way he's not going to be forced to play more games than his body can handle.
You won't have high pressure.
Yeah. Yep. What were you saying?
And then we confirmed Gyökeres coming in. Gyökeres, however you pronounce that one.
Yep.
So we played AC Milan. We beat AC Milan. And then we also have this guy, Max Daumann, who played against AC Milan. Bringing this name up, he's a new guy. I've seen him around for a couple years now in the youth team. It looks like he's going to be in our main team this season. He'll be on the bench, getting in games.
Oh, really?
In there. Yeah. Probably playing in Odegaard's position, maybe on the wing. and he's 6 foot. He's 15 years old, okay, and he ran all over the place against AC Milan and Newcastle in the preseason.
Oh,
So that's pretty exciting. Arsenal just keep coming up with these prospects.
great youth system.
Right. But the big reason I want to bring him up is in comparison to Wirtz. We both played AC Milan. Max Dowman at 15 ran the midfield against Milan. Florian Wirtz, not so much. He didn't do so well.
Yeah,
He was fine. He was okay.
he was fine.
He was there.
He was there.
Yeah.
He had some neat passes. He didn't do anything, boneheaded.
That's good.
But Florian Wirtz is not the answer to whatever Arne Slot and Liverpool think they need answers to
Right.
on the field.
Yep.
I think he's going to have his moments. He's got skill and ability, but there's going to be this adjustment period just with the pace of the Premier League, and then there's going to be an even bigger ask, which is altering how the team plays. So you go from this dominant season. Seems like everything's right. I mean, other than
Right.
the loss of Thiago Jota, rest in peace, the squad is a complete squad. They're very good.
Yeah.
I don't think losing Trent Alexander-Arnold is a big deal for them at all. I think,
Okay.
if anything, that will probably work in their favor. As good as he was, the truth is, he was so good moving forward and just whatever on defense.
Right.
It's always been, the entire time he's been at Liverpool, it's always been this debate about Trent Alexander-Arnold on defense. And like people always talk, and it's just like, let's just stop talking about it and just admit he's not a great defender, but he's phenomenal pushing forward. And if he's able to do that from the back, opposing teams don't expect a right back to be that good and to whip balls in that accurately and do all the things that he can do. Kind of like Ashley Cole. There's just back when Ashley Cole was at Chelsea, there's just no answer anybody had to him. Except the difference is Ashley Cole played really good defense. But he could push forward, and it was like, what are we going to do about Ashley Cole? It's like, I don't know. Trent Alexander-Arnold brought a lot moving forward, but he was exposed all the time on defense.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to miss him. They've got tons of attacking firepower. I think their problem is they're changing the entire system to work with Florian Wirtz, and I don't know how the other players are going to respond to that. And do we know that Florian is going to be able to step up to the plate and be that guy that's running that team, this championship offense that's already done it without him?
Right.
We'll see. Probably not.
Yeah. It's gonna take some time to adjust, and he probably is not gonna, fully adjust to the Premier League this season. So, with Trent Alexander-Arnold, he did put enough pressure on that wing to where it made it difficult for them to do anything in response. It gave him a lot of time to get back on defense because he was such an offensive threat. But without him, I think, they conceded 4 goals against AC Milan. Okay?
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on in their defense. I know Virgil van Dijk is past his prime.
He's well past his prime.
Yeah. But if you compare the score lines of Arsenal 1-0 and then AC Milan beat Liverpool 4-2, I think that tells the whole story. I think Liverpool have a pretty good offense. They scored 2 goals. That's pretty good. But they conceded 4.
Yeah.
And that's the whole story of the team. Their defense is not going to be good enough. Their offense is not going to be good enough to offset their defense. They're looking at getting Isaac, and I think that's the only chance they could possibly compete for the league next season in any way.
I think they're going to get Alexander Isak.
I don't think so.
I think they're going to get Isaac or Itzhak or whatever you want. I don't know how they pronounce it. I've heard it pronounced 5 different ways. I think they're going to get him
Okay.
because they've got the money from winning the league and all the other revenue streams. And I don't think it's going to matter, to your point.
Yep.
And I think that the AC Milan Liverpool game is a foreshadowing of things to come. We can score goals, but we don't know how to defend.
Right.
And as is typical in the Premier League, teams react very quickly towards whatever like tactical scheme the winning team deploys. They figure it out,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Pep Guardiola, his first season in the Premier League with Man City, Mourinho has his Chelsea team, and Mourinho basically had the whole team set up because they were loaded and they knew they could beat everybody else, but he had the team specifically set up to ensure that he was going to beat. No, not Mourinho. It wasn't Mourinho. It's Conte.
Okay.
Antonio Conte.
Okay.
His first season in the Premier League. He had a great team. Just crazy good players, and, Hazard at the peak of his powers, all this stuff. But he had the team. He got to the Premier League and took one look at Man City and their roster and the fact that Pep Guardiola was coaching it. And he's like, that will be my problem. And he set the entire team up to make sure that they could beat Man City. Because he knew, I have Eden Hazard at the peak of his skills, best player in the world, arguably, outside of Messi and Ronaldo at the time. It's like, he'll take care of business. I just need to make sure that we're able to beat Man City's offense, basically. Put 5 guys in the back, did all this different stuff, and then we won the league. And so I think that is what Premier League coaches, smart Premier League coaches, which they all are basically, and it's just a matter of their budget, whether they have the right players. But the Premier League, they figure out the tactics of the winning team and figure out how to counter them really quickly.
Yeah.
And so everybody's going to come this coming season with a game plan to make sure that Liverpool doesn't run all over them. And on top of that, Liverpool do have a shaky defense and are changing everything on their offense.
Right.
So I think they'll be top 4. They're not going to. The 2-4 AC Milan result is what you're going to see.
Yeah.
I think that Arsenal are definitely going from strength to strength. As much as I don't like to admit that, I think they are. Kind of like with Spuds. Hold on. You might be like, okay, well, they've got an aging son. They don't have they haven't brought in any big names. But here's the thing with Spuds. This coach that they brought in, Thomas Frank, I think is his name.
Good coach. Very good coach.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He's proven. He's battle hardened, seasoned, and he can take whatever squad you give him. And Spuds is definitely better than the squad he had previously, and he can bring them up a level.
Right.
And he knows he can coach different styles too. He's not some exclusive park the bus type character. He can do attacking. He can do it all. He's not married to any one philosophy other than, working hard and winning.
So with Tottenham and with Man U, their goal should be to be in the top half of the table at the end of the season. Spuds, I think with Thomas Frank, could possibly, compete for the European positions. But didn't they finish in the bottom half last season, 14th place or something?
It was pretty bad. It was abysmal.
It was very bad. So those two teams, they're going to talk a big game, but they really need to be aiming for the top half of the table. They're looking for 10th place. Thomas Frank, I think of course, they're going to want to get 7th. And I think he could possibly do it. But it's an uphill battle. He's taking over a very bad team. They finished very poorly last season.
Yes and no. Here's the thing. And I would say this more so about Manchester United.
Sure.
I believe that a big part of these teams' problems and why they've had such a rapid and drastic fall from grace, as far as like competing for European spots to finishing in the bottom half, is due to the coaches and the owners and whoever's in charge in general at the club not knowing your place, not knowing that, hey, you've got skill, but like you've got some really talented players, but you guys just don't have the mojo right now. You don't have a great winning mentality. And what you need to do is don't open up, don't try and attack. Like let's like go within ourselves. Let's get in the fetal position and wait for an opportunity to attack. And like Ange at Tottenham was like, we're gonna press and like every single the last defender is going to be at the half line as much as possible, and like we're going to own the ball. It's like, dude, you don't have the squad for that.
Right.
You're not Man City. Don't do that.
Yep.
Know your place.
In other words, if you have Mourinho, just keep him. Just keep Mourinho on the team.
That would be
For both of those teams.
Yes.
They would be way better off if they had Mourinho.
Yes, they would be way better off if they kept Mourinho, because Mourinho understands the talent level of a squad. He knows how far up he can coach each individual player, and he knows like their limits.
Right.
And based off that, he designs the tactics.
Yeah.
And he understands like, okay, I'm not going to be able to like be this dominant squad if like these players just aren't there. So we're going to park the bus.
Yep.
A term he invented, parking the bus. So they don't know their place. And Amorim at Manchester United has a good enough squad to compete for European positions if he's willing to make sure that his tactics fall in line with where they're at, where the confidence levels of the players are at, and where the Premier League is at. It's like you have to just also understand, like, look, like in the Premier League, there's two teams, three-ish teams that just dictate the tempo of every single game. It's Liverpool, obviously, they won the league. Arsenal, Man City.
Right.
And that's actually rare.
Yep.
A lot of seasons, there isn't one clear defined team that's like kind of able to dictate the tempo of every single game, like those teams are. So I think that knowing that, then you got to prepare your teams, set them up tactically for a very cagey, fight it out,
Right.
scrappy,
Right.
tactical battle.
Right.
And instead, these clubs that have these aspirations of being European contenders are like, we need the coach to be very attack-minded. No. Attack-minded? No.
Pragmatic. Be pragmatic.
Be pragmatic.
Yeah.
Don't be Sam Allardyce, but be pragmatic.
Yep. Yeah, Amorim, Man U, I think you're right. They should be competing for Europe, but they need some signings, I think. There's some holes.
Ten
in
Hag
midfield
set
and
them.
defense.
Ten Hag set them back
Yeah.
in so many ways.
Oh, man.
It
what a
cannot.
disaster.
Man U fans will never admit it.
Yeah.
Because they love Ten Hag.
Yeah.
The way he dealt with Ronaldo. Awful coach.
Yep.
Complete unmitigated disaster. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Every moment of his tenure at Man U was a disaster.
Yeah.
They don't realize it because they got that top four finish
Right.
in his first season or whatever. Again, only due to Rashford just kind of popping off and scoring a ton of goals in like the second half of the season or whatever. It doesn't matter what his timing was. He just went crazy.
Yeah.
Had a crazy season. But without him doing that, that squad was not going to be top four.
Yeah.
And all of it is down to Ten Hag's, just his man management and his tactics are bad because he's a bad manager.
Yep.
And winning the Dutch league does not amount to more than a pile of human excrement. It's like, okay, the Dutch Eredivisie, nobody cares. Are you following the Dutch league? Have you been like paying close attention? Oh,
Yeah.
what's even that? It's like, no, you haven't, because it's not a great league.
Yeah.
It's not that
Yeah.
great players and coaches don't come from the league from time to
Right,
time,
sure.
but it's just not a great league.
Yeah.
It's a tiny little country,
Yeah.
a tiny little league with limited talent. And
Yeah.
he was not it,
Yep.
And so he comes in, they're awful. Nobody can ever figure out what they're actually trying to do or what he's trying to do. Nonstop excuses. Basically fires Ronaldo. They then proceed the following season to not be able to score any goals. They spend hundreds of millions of dollars and get nothing out of any of it. And they're just still relying on the same players that were there before him. At the end of the day, it's all without Bruno Fernandes, they have no attack. He's been there for forever. So, trash coach. Ten Hag is trash. Yeah, I mean, Antony. Oh, man.
Oh boy. Oh my word. That was
Awful.
It was very entertaining to watch Antony. Just how bad he was.
It was. It was funny. It was also funny because they spent all this money on him. And again, everybody's like, who's Antony? Where's this guy come from? What league? What team? And it like turns out, well, he's like a guy who played in the league that Ten Hag was in, which is the Dutch league, which again is not renowned for being a great league that produces all the best players in the world.
Right.
So, and let's look at his stats in the Dutch league. Is it like crazy? Was he scoring like 35 goals every season? No, he wasn't. He was like dominant in the sense that he was, above, like in the, top 5 best players in the league in the Dutch league. So let's spend $100 million on him.
Unbelievable.
And see what happens. Also, he's like a very slight, skinny, quick player, but very clearly, visibly not strong. And it's like, dude, you're in the Premier League. There are players that fit that bill that are good, but a lot of these guys are strong.
Right. Right.
Like Liam Delap.
Yep.
Just a unit.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Whatever. Rehashing the history. I'm talking about it so passionately. You'd think I was a Man U fan. I'm not. I just hate Ten Hag. Do not like him. I actually hate Man U too, but.
Yeah. It is fun watching their downfall. I mean, for so long they were so dominant, and it was like, it was hard to watch, and it looked like there was cheating going on. Whether there was or wasn't, it was frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
And we all kind of hoped one day this team will go away, and boy, did they ever! Just like
what a fall!
Just like that.
Yeah, what a fall! They are awful. Wow, crazy. Yeah. It is glorious to observe. I think that Arsenal have put together a really, really good transfer session here. They've just tied together excellent transfer after excellent transfer. Gyökeres, how do you pronounce his name?
Gyökeres.
Gyökeres.
I'm probably pronouncing it completely wrong.
Who knows?
Yeah.
He looks very promising.
Gyökeres.
I think that if it turns out that Newcastle is actually willing to sell Alexander Isak,
right,
and he goes to Liverpool,
right,
or to any other club for that matter, then that is a failure of Arsenal's. They should have done whatever it takes to get him. If he's going to stay, it is what it is. Turns out he wants to be at Newcastle, but if he ends up going, that means that Arsenal could have had him and they should have got him.
Well, I think it's pretty clear he didn't want to go to Arsenal at this point. Right after we got our striker, Isak apparently asked for a transfer. He said, I'm ready to, I want to look at deals. Whatever offers come in, I want to see. So he probably didn't want to go to Arsenal for whatever reason. 2, they're asking like 120 to 150 million for him, which is crazy. That's a crazy huge number. And then 3, he is incredibly injury prone. His history, he's had surgeries on everything that a soccer player could have surgery on.
Yep.
So is he worth that much, really? I mean, he did very well, but it's also very likely that he comes and flops wherever he goes. So it seems to me like Newcastle want to keep him. Nobody can really afford to buy him at this point. I think Liverpool have already spent $200 million in the transfers.
Something like that, yeah.
So they're pretty well maxed out. To go, maybe 80 million would be reasonable, or 70, but to go and spend 150 or well over
It will take
100.
well over 100.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult for them to do. Newcastle, I think, really want to keep him. So it seems like he might stay for one more season.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, if he stays, then I think that they were right
Right.
to not pull the trigger. If he goes, that's unfortunate. They should have picked him up. I'm gonna disagree with you about his injury proneness. I believe that a lot of that has to do with the team relying on you too heavily. When you're at a club like Newcastle, who is very specifically trying to deploy a transfer strategy that minimizes spending and maximizes every other element of the squad.
Right.
As in, they're trying to get players, they're pushing players to go a little bit further, work a little harder. We've got Eddie Howe, who's clearly a very good coach, coaching guys up mentally to push themselves so that they can basically punch above their weight, financially at least. Even though they have a lot of money, but they don't have like Chelsea, Man U, Man City money. They do have a lot of money though, but they're clearly trying to be frugal and very wise about how they spend their money, which I applaud them and I applaud their success. And I think though that comes at a cost, and one of those costs is players get worn out quickly.
Right.
They're playing too many games.
Yeah.
And or they're being pushed to play through injuries and whatnot. Oh, you're young, you're 25. It's like, dude, torn muscle, strained muscle.
Yeah.
Push these guys too far, it's going to be a problem. They're going to be out for 3 months. Right. And I think that they do that at Newcastle. And I think if Alexander Isak goes to Liverpool under Arne Slot, or if he went to Arsenal, he would get time to rest.
Yeah.
They'd be like, you don't need to play in the League Cup. You don't need to play in the FA Cup until we're in the knockouts. They would probably give him a lot of rest.
Right. I'll say this. I think it could be a problem for the rest of the league if he goes to Liverpool. However, if Arsenal still pick up one more like quality winger or quality midfielder, I think a winger would be great, then I think it's still on. If we go and get Eze, they get Isaac, we get Eze, I think we'll be just fine. Arsenal's team is very deep right now, and quality in our second team as well.
Yeah. Another thing with Arsenal, again, I hate to do this, but Martin Odegaard is, I would argue, the best attacking midfielder in the world.
Yeah.
Right now.
I agree.
And he just doesn't have any titles because he's had his best play at Arsenal. They haven't gotten any titles, but his play and his statistics, and when you just watch him play, you're like, whoa, this guy, he is obscenely good.
Yep.
And he's good on both sides of the ball too. That's the other thing. And he's faster than people realized. That's another interesting thing. He's quick. He plays good defense. He's good at pressing. He's fantastic at passing. Mm-hmm. He sees the field really well, and he can shoot. He's scored goals. He just has it all. And Arsenal, with a healthy Martin Odegaard, are always going to be pressing for the title. He is really, really, really good. He is, and it's interesting because Saka gets a lot of the headlines.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like viewed as like their star player. But Odegaard is the best player on the team and one of the best players in the world. He's phenomenal.
I agree. Well, he at least tied the record for goal scoring in the league. He did it both in a calendar year, and then I think he did it in a season if you remove penalties, which Saka takes all our penalties. So Odegaard has hit, like, he has gotten some of the best records in the league, which is
I don't understand that stat. So if you remove penalties, Odegaard scored more goals in like a calendar year in the league than anybody else.
Both just in the season. In a season, he scored the most goals for a midfielder.
Oh, for a midfielder.
Yeah, for a midfielder, right? Which
Probably
is,
you
you
probably
don't want to
didn't-
compare him to like Ronaldo or something like that.
Oh,
That
okay.
wouldn't be fair.
For a midfielder, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So
I don't know. I'd have to look into that because
It's
Frank
removing penalties though. You have to take that into account.
even with that, Frank Lampard's season when Ancelotti was coaching Chelsea,
He went above Lampard.
that
I think
would
De Bruyne had the record. He tied De Bruyne, I think. Yeah.
well,
But
I
that's
don't know.
removing penalties. So even I think if you add the penalties in, I think it changes everything.
Yeah.
But I think it's still it's a record in the league, and it shows that this guy can score
Yeah.
from midfield. He also has like goals and assists. He's very high on
Yeah,
the ranking.
he
for that.
cranks out a ton of both.
Yep.
But like I
So-
said, he does everything on both sides of the ball.
Oh yeah.
He's great.
Yeah,
And
his
he- and
pressing
he's-
is amazing.
and he's faster
Yeah.
than people realize. You
Yep.
know, like I say
Very
that
tricky.
yes,
Yep.
and I say that because I came up in the Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard era,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean Lampard is just dangerously slow. He was really slow.
Yeah.
And Gerrard Gerrard had different injuries that
Lord.
made him a lot slower too.
Yep.
I think probably naturally Gerrard is probably a much quicker player than Lampard was naturally, but he just because of the injuries and everything. And so I just was used to like these attacking central midfielders who could do a lot, being slow, and to see
Right.
Odegaard the way he's just zipping around the field and able to take on defenders.
Yep.
He's got a burst of speed.
Yep.
He's quick and he's really good.
Yep.
So he's a danger. You gotta stay healthy though. You guys need him.
That is true. If he goes down, we're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Which is why I want to see us bring in a Eze, because he can play midfield and he can
Yeah.
play on the wing, which
Yeah.
would be great. But we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. I think with Chelsea, for us, our linchpin has become Caicedo. I think if Casado's injured, we're just not as good of a team.
He's
And-
very good as well.
Yeah.
He's a very good player.
Yeah. He's a defensive midfielder, like a defined, very clear defensive midfielder, different than, Odegaard, for example. But without him, it's not as good of a team. We have to shift things around, and
Yep.
it's just not the same because he adds so much moving forward and passing from deep positions, and then his ability to read the game and win the ball is incredible.
Yep.
So that's our issue, and there's nobody on the squad that can just like be a 1-for-1 for Caicedo.
Right.
Everywhere else on the field, literally in every other position, there's somebody who can just step in and is comparable.
Right.
I would argue.
Right. Yeah, it's the blessing and the curse of having like a really skilled, really good
Yeah.
player in their position. It's like, well,
You become
if
so
they're
reliant.
gone,
Yeah.
you really need them.
You become so reliant on them. It's like
Yep.
crazy. So
All right, we should call it a podcast, I think. What do you say?
we call it a pod. I concur.
Oh no, it wasn't recording.